Todd with Reason Files. This is definitely going to be a hurry and watch video. A few days ago on Paul Wittenberger's Framing the World channel, he was interviewed by a Steadfast Baptist Church member, Peter Ruddick. Some of the answers that Paul Wittenberger was giving to Peter Ruddick on question he was asking was eyebrow raising. Let's take a listen.
In Hollywood, is there anything that's different from Hollywood that there is from the Christian filmmaking, other than the obvious?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
Hollywood has a lot of, cliques and stuff like that, to whereas Christian filmmaking has a lot of, everyone works together and is willing to work together.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say Hollywood is a very tight group of people. And it's a very small group of people. Hollywood is, you think of Hollywood being so grand and so big, but really, it's a lot of, the elite crews are very tight. And it's hard to get on those elite crews. And there's not very many people. Like, I don't know if you could do how many people are in the 728 Lighting Guild. It's not that much.
Right.
It's not that many. So, and that being said, not only is there not very many, there's not very many active ones. And so it is, working on a film is a team effort. When you work on a Hollywood film, I would say it's even more, well, no, I wouldn't say it's more, but it's a very team-oriented kind of structure.
Okay. Are there any projects you have worked on that you take pride in, and also that you regret working on?
I don't regret working on anything. I take pride in all the projects I worked on. Everything I did taught me what I know now, and every experience I had was awesome, and it taught me how to manage and deal with different situations. And that's why I think today I'm pretty comfortable at just showing up for an interview and being able to overcome obstacles pretty quickly, and to set it up fast. That's kind of how I am. I like to do things fast. I like to do things good, and with what I have, obviously.
So would it be safe to assume that you would say that it doesn't matter what the project is as long as you do your job well?
Yeah. I never did anything sinful. I just showed up. I did lighting,
So Wittenberger worked in Hollywood as a lighting technician. Let's take a quick look at what a lighting technician does. Here we go. Of course, you're on a set of a male or female pornography movie, and you're the lighting technician on set while these depraved acts go on, and you're not in any sin. Maybe I can get a new IFB pastor over here to confirm that there would be no problems or issues with that. Furthermore, Wittenberger was proud of all the accomplishments and has no regrets. And it's just a job. Also, I'd like to remind the listeners that Paul Wittenberger to this day continues to sell Hindu products on his website, Framing the World, in the store, that go to fund a Hindu commune that promotes the worship of Hindu deities. Okay, moving forward. Paul Wittenberger once again is having Dr. Kent Hovind on his show here in a couple hours. I have been recently monitoring activity on Kent Hovind's channel, and Hovind is promoting and floating this idea of millennial exclusion. Let's take a listen to exactly what this means. The gentleman explaining this is from a Baptist church in Fort Lauderdale Baptist Church, since most of the listeners here are Baptists, so they might be a little receptive to this gentleman speaking on the issue. Let's take a listen. I'll provide a link for the video here in the comment or description.
What do you think of the doctrine of millennial exclusion? I'll be honest with you, I've not personally heard that term used. I may have heard probably partially the teaching, but I'm not immediately familiar with that term or with the actual doctrine itself. I have to apologize for that.
As far as I know, the millennial exclusionism, I think it's a recent development. I'm sure that in a way that is not articulated, in other words, it's been given a name that is, fairly recent as far as I know, but I'm not an expert on all the strange doctrine that's out there. I used the word last week when I answered questions, fad. I would call it that. I would say it is something that has come lately and in a few years will probably have died off. I suppose the progressive dispensation was a fad a few years ago, or progressive dispensationalism, and I suppose it's still effective, but it was one of those things that I think the fundamental colleges and seminaries and the churches really kind of addressed and preached against. Millennial exclusionism, as I understand it, asserts that in the millennium, if you didn't live for Jesus in this life, you'll be excluded from the millennium. In other words, and I think I understand it correctly. In other words, you are in a Baptist purgatory, if you will. The question is, what do I think about it? I think it's unscriptural. I think that there are reasons for people to understand that it matters in this life, in the millennium, how we live. If you study Ezekiel and you study Daniel and you study scriptural rewards, I do believe the Bible very, very plainly teaches that what our position is within the millennial reign of Jesus Christ has everything to do with how we live for Jesus in this life. And that is something that isn't often taught. Millennial exclusionism is a radical extreme of that teaching, which would say that you would be excluded from the millennium. I haven't studied a lot. I don't know where they say you're going to go. Maybe you just stay in New Jerusalem or something. I don't really know. I will share this, though, and I think this has better application. I guess the question was, what do I think about it? I think it's a bunch of hogwash.
Okay, here with an hour, we may be able to hear Kent Hovind expand on this millennial exclusion when he goes on Paul Wittenberger's show. I'm unsure if that topic is going to be discussed. If it is, someone should call up and challenge that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to. My voice would be recognized immediately. Also, Robert Tuttle is unable to do it. He recently had some teeth worked on this week and bone spur, whatever. It's going to be up to someone from the trash can or a listener if they decide to listen this evening to this. Okay, the phone number should be on the screen. Obviously, I'm unsure if they're going to have a call-in, but in case they do, someone should call up and challenge us. See you in the next video. Reason Files out.